Good morning. I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Zoning and Planning Committee. I'm Lisa Bender. I chair the committee, and I'm joined by Council Members Reich, Andrew Johnson, and Council President Johnson. We are a quorum of the committee. We have 6 items on our published agenda today. Item number 1 has been withdrawn by the applicant. So we'll move through to the consent agenda. First, so that's items 3 through 5. So item number 3 is a rezoning at 3400 Technology Drive. That would be rezoning from I-1 to I-2 to allow a metal furniture production use in an existing building. Item number 4 is passage of an ordinance amending our zoning code to allow single and two-family homes in high-density districts. I'm the author of this ordinance and can speak to this one very briefly just so people know what they're voting on. And item number 5 is a local historic district designation for the Golden Valley Road Apartment Historic Districts. Is there any discussion on any of those items? I'll just briefly mention that item number 4 came forward. Actually, one of Councilmember Yang's constituents contacted me about a building in Councilmember Warsami's ward where somebody wanted to turn what had been built as I think a single family home into a duplex, but it was in a higher density zoning district. So this just will clarify in our code that is allowable in those higher density districts. And the purpose, my purpose was to allow for more rehab and renovation of our historic building stock. So with that, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Those items 3 through 5 carry. Do we need to take action on item number 1?
Chair Bender, technically I don't think you have to, but it's a good idea to do it, just to formally vote to accept the withdrawal and remove the item from the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. So on item number 1, which has been withdrawn by the applicant, I will move to accept the withdrawal. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. And that carries. Item number 2 is a public hearing for mayoral appointment to our City Planning Commission, confirming the appointment of Sam Rockwell to the commission. And that would be a term starting in February of 2015 and ending in 2017. So I'll open the public hearing, invite you to come up and speak if you'd like.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to address the committee. My name is Sam Rockwell, and I just wanted to briefly introduce myself and tell you why I applied to the Planning Commission, answering questions if you have any, and so forth. So I applied to the Planning Commission because I love the city and I want to help see the city reach its full potential. I think land use and development are some of the greatest tools for moving the city forward. It's a way of increasing safety by putting eyes on the street, and health by creating walkable communities, economic development by attracting people from across the world and the country, and so on and so forth. So across a range of disciplines. The city recognizes this and has put forth a number of visions that further these goals. So, the Climate Action Plan involves land use and development, the Bicycle Master Plan, Pedestrian Master Plan, of course, the Comp Plan. The zoning code is not always kept up with all of these visions just because of timelines. And I think one of the roles I would see for myself in the Planning Commission is to help realize the visions that are outlined in those plans, which the City Council and previous City Councils have put together. I think that I would be well qualified to do so. I have legal training, which is handy for looking at codes. I've spent my career as a student of planning issues in Minneapolis and elsewhere, and then I think I'm a curious and creative mind. So I'd hope if I were appointed to the Planning Commission that I have an opportunity to talk with each of you or your staffs and understand your priorities and your ideas, because you are, after all, the elected voices of the people of the city. And I think it's important that as the Planning Commission and the city looks towards its future, we also make sure that we're taking care of the residents that are here and businesses that are here right now. So there's an overview of why I applied, and happy to answer any questions now or later.
Thank you. Any questions? No? All right.
Thank
Anyone else like to speak? Anyone else on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. I will move to confirm the mayoral appointment of Sam Rockwell to the City Planning Commission. Any discussion? I'll offer my personal thanks as somebody who attends the twice, 2 evenings per cycle, Planning Commission meetings. It's a huge time commitment. So very appreciative of all of our volunteers on the Planning Commission. All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay, and that carries. And our final item today is a discussion of an historic district designation in Lowry Hill East. In the 10th ward, we have it on discussion because there is a slight modification, but we'll just start with a brief presentation from staff.
Good morning, council members. I'm here before you to present staff findings from the designation study for the Lowry Hill East Residential Historic District. The Lowry Hill East Residential Historic District is a largely intact collection of late 19th and early 20th century residences emblematic of streetcar-related development. This district also highlights the work of prominent local master architects and master builders in the Queen Anne and Colonial Revival styles. This district was first identified as a potential historic resource in 2005 by the Lowry Hill East Neighborhood Association. This study identified a concentration of significant buildings on the east and west sides of Bryant Avenue South between 24th and West 25th Streets, and identified individual properties recommended for further studies situated outside these boundaries. In 2008, a reconnaissance survey funded by the city of Minneapolis expanded the boundaries of this potential historic district and incorporated 4 properties outside the boundaries identified in the 2005 study that were recommended for further research. The evaluators recommended that this portion of the Lowry Hill East neighborhood be designated as a local historic district. This district includes 55 residential properties, which include single-family houses, duplexes, and apartment buildings. The majority of construction dates range from 1882 to 1913. 45 out of 55 properties are contributing. 11 garages are considered contributing as they were built within the period of significance and retain their integrity. This district is significant under criterion 1 for its association with historic patterns of residential development. This portion of the neighborhood represents a local trend in the expansion of the city from its downtown core. In 1884, a horse car line was in place on Lyndale Avenue. By 1893, the system had been electrified, and Hennepin Avenue and Lake Street were serviced by streetcars. The cultural geography of the city had changed from that of a walking city into a city of neighborhoods surrounding a downtown business district, aided by the expansion of the streetcar system. The district is also significant under criterion 4, as it embodies the distinctive characteristics of an architectural or engineering type or style or method of construction. Namely, the residences in this district are a remarkable collection of houses built in high fashion for their time, namely in the Queen Anne and Colonial Revival styles. The streetscapes of the district are created by the interplay of high-pitched roof lines, open balustrade front porches, and bay windows set alongside tree-lined boulevards. These elements are typical of this period of neighborhood residential design dating from the end of the 19th to the beginning of the 20th century. The district is also significant under criterion 6. It exemplifies the works of master builders, engineers, designers, artists, craftsmen, or architects. This remarkable collection of residences developed due to the collaboration of talented local architects, builder contractors, and the new middle and upper classes. Architects in the neighborhood included Downs and Eads, William Kenyon, Edward Stebbins, and William Channing Whitney. They're all considered master architects important to the city's heritage. It is also where the Glick Mansion is located, which is already listed as both a local and national landmark. So altogether, more than half the properties in this district are associated with the work of a prominent architect or master builder, important to the city's heritage. Theron Potter Healy and Henry Ingram were among the builders in the district. The district is strongly associated with the work of T.P. Healy, and this district contains 13 houses built by him, 12 of which are considered contributing properties. In comparison, this district would preserve the largest concentration of houses built by T.P. Healy outside of the Healy Historic District, which contains 14 houses and a barn built by him. And this district, Healy Block District, features Queen Anne style houses. This district features a lot of colonial revival houses. This one was identified as a significant individual property in 2008. This is just a very lovely house with high-pitched roof, Palladian windows, nice garlands, curved glass. This just shows the variety of homes that he built in. This also is a Dutch colonial style house. It's similar to a couple others in the district. This is a very vernacular colonial revival house, but exhibits remarkable integrity like a lot of other homes in the district. And this was also identified in the 2008 study. It's just a lovely house. Henry Ingham, these are some of his properties. It's a nice colonial revival house with bay windows, classic columns, and another one also that's remarkable for its integrity. So as a whole, the district strongly retains integrity of location, setting, design, materials, workmanship, feeling, and association. Public comments to date have largely been supportive. At a September 22nd meeting before the nomination, there was several verbal votes of support. And since then, there have been questions and comments from concerned property owners. Many property owners also requested to participate in the development of design guidelines. The nominator noted similar things during a weekend door knocking effort in early January. And at the time of the nomination hearing before the Minneapolis Heritage Preservation Commission on February 17th, staff had received 4 letters from individual property owners, 2 in favor of inclusion in the district and 2 against. At an April 30th meeting with property owners, staff solicited feedback and answered questions. Staff received additional comments during 2 periods in April and May when drafts of the designation were posted online. At a June 25th public meeting, staff discussed a draft of the design guidelines for the district. Public questions were answered and in general were supported by attending property owners. During the HPC discussion item hearing on the 28th of July, Kathy Kohlberg, a resident of the district, presented her concerns to the commission and sent staff some of her own individual research. So the majority of comments received to this point are in support of a historic district. A few comments are not as supportive. Copies of all these comments and correspondence are attached to the documents you have. So staff is happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay. Seeing none, I will move the passage of a resolution approving the local historic district designation. I also have an amendment, which is in front of everyone, to amend the period of significance of the district, as well as to add a couple of architectural styles, the prairie and arts and crafts styles. And what this does is allow some of the additional properties within the same boundary to become contributing instead of being designated as non-contributing. This district has been an excellent process. Thank you to staff for their work on this. There's been incredible support and leadership from the community on this. There were 2 studies that were sponsored by the neighborhood organization over the last 10 years looking at the historic resources in the neighborhood, and a ton of volunteer time from the community, especially by Kathy Kohlberg, who is one of my neighbors and a local historian of homes and the people who lived in them. When you move into the neighborhood, she brings you a packet of history about your home. It's really cool. I was also surprised. I went door to door in the neighborhood, in the district, with my staff over the winter, just so people knew what was coming and to hear what they thought. And there's an incredible amount of support for this district, and I think potentially unusual amount of people who want to be included in the district whose homes were not included. So we're amending the district to add those. And there's people who, others who would like to have their homes designated as well. We're going to follow up with them into the future. So with that, I'll see if there's any discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that carries. It's our final item, and we are adjourned.